if you look at social media and look into the media, lots of people want to blame climate change on everybody else. Yeah. And at the moment, China and India are the biggest emitters of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. But the real issue is that's only a recent phenomenon. And if you look throughout the history of time, since the Industrial Revolution, the biggest emitters of greenhouse gases have been Europe and America and basically the West. So, yes, China is catching up and trying to secure a standard of life for themselves and their people. But to achieve the standard of life we have today in the West, we've burnt a lot more carbon, emitted a lot more carbon. So if you talk about the accumulation of carbon in the atmosphere, most of that carbon comes from Europe and America, and only a small amount comes from Asian countries as well. So my opinion is it's not really a Chinese problem. Of course, we have to reduce Chinese emissions too, but lots of the Chinese emissions are also being generated in manufacturing things for the European and the American and the Western market as well. So yeah, some of those emissions are really our emissions too. So my view is that climate change is a problem of overconsumption, and we consume more than anybody else. And so yeah, it's wrong to blame Chinese because per capita Chinese emissions are much smaller than ours. And basically their emissions are so big because there's so many people in China and so many people in India as well. For a long time, simulations have been helping to define more efficient processes for manufacturing. So rather than trying things in real time and making mistakes, you can simulate those things on computers. So that's obviously a way to reduce the impact of manufacturing. There are elements of manufacturing which are very resistant to that approach because certain elements of manufacturing require lots of fossil fuels. So things like making cement, yeah, making steel, high temperature processes which use furnaces, it's impossible to do those things at the moment using only electricity. So for those things, those are real challenges. But there's lots of ways we can reduce manufacturing emissions. Electrification of processes, making processes more efficient is one way, but there's still things that we can't solve. And those bigger problems that we can't solve now are the ones where simulation will really help in the future, I think.